Ladies and gentlemen, most men will never admit this, but the ego controls almost everything they do. The way they talk, the way they walk, the way they love, the way they pull away. A man can look strong on the outside and still be starving for validation on the inside. And the mistake many people make in relationships is thinking love alone keeps a man attached. Admiration keeps him attached. The feeling that he matters keeps him attached. The feeling that he is respected keeps him attached. Most men grow up learning one dangerous lesson: never show weakness. From childhood, they are taught to hide pain, suppress emotion, and prove themselves constantly. People praise men for being strong, successful, dominant, and in control, but very few teach them how to feel understood. That is why respect becomes emotionally addictive to many men. Respect makes a man feel seen. It makes him feel important. And deep inside, most men are starving for that feeling more than they will ever admit out loud. A man can survive criticism from the world, but when he feels disrespected by the person he loves, it cuts deeper than people realize. Because for many men, respect and love are connected together. If he feels constantly ignored, corrected, mocked, or undervalued, his ego starts reacting defensively. Sometimes he becomes distant, sometimes angry, sometimes cold and silent. Not because he stopped caring, but because his pride feels wounded. Many women think men only care about beauty or physical attraction, but a man becomes emotionally attached when he feels admired. When someone listens to him carefully, when someone believes in his ability, when someone notices his effort instead of only pointing out his flaws. A man may act confident in public while secretly questioning his worth in private. That is why appreciation has such power over him. And here is where relationships begin to change. The moment a man feels he is no longer respected, he starts emotionally pulling away, even if he still loves you. Men often tolerate stress, pressure, and exhaustion from life, but constant disrespect inside a relationship slowly destroys their emotional connection. Sarcasm, public embarrassment, comparisons with other men, or making him feel replaceable can damage him more than loud arguments ever will. At the same time, many men become lazy when respect is given without balance. If a man receives admiration while giving little effort in return, he may begin taking that love for granted. Human nature works this way. People often value things more when they feel they must earn them. That is why confidence and standards matter so much. A woman who respects herself naturally commands deeper respect from others. She does not beg for attention. She does not compete for validation. She carries herself with emotional control, and that energy forces people to treat her differently. Men are deeply affected by how they feel around someone. A person who constantly attacks his pride may gain temporary control, but they lose emotional closeness. A person who understands the balance between respect, challenge, and self-worth creates something far more powerful inside him. Emotional attachment mixed with admiration. One of the fastest ways to destroy attraction is to become too available emotionally. The moment someone feels they no longer have to work for your time, attention, or energy, they slowly begin to stop valuing it. This happens in relationships every single day. At the beginning, people are excited, curious, attentive. They text quickly, make effort, ask questions, and chase connection because uncertainty creates emotional intensity. But once they become completely certain you will never leave, many people unconsciously reduce their effort. This is especially true when someone starts making another person the center of their entire world. Constant texting, constant checking, constant availability, always saying yes, always sacrificing personal needs just to maintain connection. At first, it may look like love, but over time, it creates emotional imbalance. The relationship becomes predictable, and predictability without effort slowly kills excitement. Many people think attraction grows through endless giving, but attraction actually grows through balance. A person must feel your presence, but they must also feel that your life has value outside of them. When someone sees that you have your own goals, routines, standards, and emotional independence, they become more careful with how they treat you. Why? Because now they understand they are not your entire identity. Over-availability also sends an invisible message. I will tolerate anything just to keep you. And once that message is felt, respect often begins to fade. Not immediately, but slowly. People stop appreciating what comes too easily. A man who once feared losing you may start assuming you will always stay no matter how little effort he gives. That confidence changes his behavior. He becomes slower to respond, less intentional, less emotionally present, because he no longer feels the need to earn your attention. The most attractive people are not the loudest or the coldest. They are the ones who know how to maintain emotional balance. They can love deeply without abandoning themselves. They can care without chasing. They can give affection without losing dignity. That energy creates mystery because it shows strength. It tells people, I want you, but I do not need you to survive. And the truth is, distance often reveals value more clearly than constant presence. When someone notices your absence, they suddenly remember your importance. Silence can expose feelings that endless conversation hides. Space creates reflection. It forces people to confront what life feels like without your energy constantly surrounding them. A healthy relationship is not built by two people clinging to each other out of fear. It is built by two complete individuals choosing each other while still maintaining their own identity, self-respect, and emotional independence. There is something powerful about a person who respects themselves without needing to announce it. You can feel it in the way they speak, the way they walk away from disrespect, and the way they refuse to beg for love. Self-respect creates a silent kind of confidence that immediately changes how people treat you. Because the moment others realize you know your worth, they understand they cannot manipulate you with empty promises, mixed signals, or emotional games. Many people lose themselves trying to keep someone interested. They ignore red flags, tolerate poor treatment, and constantly lower their standards because they fear losing the relationship. But the strange thing about human psychology is this: the more desperately you try to hold on to someone, the less valuable you often appear in their eyes. Desperation removes mystery. It removes challenge. It tells the other person that they have complete emotional control over you. Self-respect changes that entire dynamic. When you know your value, you stop chasing people who clearly do not appreciate you. You stop explaining yourself repeatedly to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop sacrificing your peace just to avoid loneliness. And that emotional discipline becomes deeply attractive because it is rare. People are drawn toward those who seem emotionally grounded. A person who can walk away calmly instead of reacting emotionally creates curiosity and tension. Why? Because emotional control signals strength. Most people expect emotional chaos when conflict appears. They expect begging, arguing, pleading, or emotional breakdowns. But when someone responds with calmness and dignity, it forces others to think differently about them. Mystery is also created through emotional independence, not secrecy, not manipulation, but independence. When someone sees that your happiness is not completely dependent on their attention, they begin valuing your presence more carefully. A person with self-respect has a life beyond the relationship. They have priorities, passions, goals, boundaries, and inner stability. That creates emotional depth, because it reminds people that your world does not begin and end with them. Many relationships become unhealthy because one person abandons themselves entirely. They stop growing, stop focusing on their dreams, stop maintaining their confidence. Their entire emotional state becomes controlled by another person's behavior. And over time, that dependence creates pressure inside the relationship. Attraction struggles to survive where individuality disappears. The strongest relationships are built between two people who choose each other without losing themselves in the process. A person with self-respect does not love less deeply. They simply refuse to destroy themselves for love. They understand that real connection should add peace, growth, and stability to life, not constant anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and fear of abandonment. Many men do not truly realize the value of a woman until they feel the possibility of losing her. As long as they believe she will always stay no matter what happens, they often become comfortable, sometimes too comfortable. The effort decreases, the attention weakens, the appreciation disappears little by little. Not always because they are evil or heartless, but because human beings naturally stop fearing the loss of things that seem permanently available. This is why some men suddenly change the moment they feel emotional distance. The same man who ignored messages starts replying instantly. The same man who acted emotionally unavailable suddenly becomes attentive, curious, and affectionate. Why? Because the fear of loss activates emotions that comfort had put to sleep. The moment he realizes your patience is not endless, his mind begins seeing you value differently. A man often notices your importance most clearly when your energy is no longer constantly surrounding him. Your silence becomes louder than your words ever were. Your absence forces reflection. Suddenly he remembers the loyalty he ignored, the care he overlooked, the emotional safety he took for granted. Things he barely noticed before now begin haunting his mind because they are no longer guaranteed. And the truth is, people rarely fight hard for what they believe they already fully control. Certainty can create emotional laziness. If a man believes there are no consequences for neglect, disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional distance, he slowly stops monitoring his behavior. But when he senses that your standards are real, that your self-respect is stronger than your fear of loneliness, everything changes psychologically. This does not mean threatening someone or playing manipulative games. Real emotional power is not loud. It is calm. It is the quiet understanding that you are willing to walk away from situations that continuously damage your peace. That mindset creates respect because it shows strength from within. Many people stay in painful relationships because they fear starting over. They tolerate disrespect, hoping love alone will change things. But sometimes the greatest transformation happens only when someone finally decides they deserve better treatment. That decision creates emotional shock, especially for a man who believed you could never leave. A woman who knows her worth carries a different energy. She does not beg to be chosen. She does not compete for basic respect. And when a man realizes he might actually lose someone like that, his ego reacts strongly. Suddenly he wants to prove himself again. Suddenly he wants your attention back. Suddenly he sees what was standing in front of him the entire time. Because people often become fully awake, emotionally only when they understand that love is a privilege, not a threat. Guarantee.